3D Kermit the Frog acrylic nail art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you a Kermit the Frog nail art design that is pretty simple. It's just a cute little 3D Kermit. It also goes with a 3D Miss Piggy that I will be uploading tomorrow, so if you like Kermit and Miss Piggy and all of them, definitely check back for that one. I absolutely love the Muppets. They were always a thing, they're always a, I don't know, a staple in my life when I was younger, so I hope you guys like this design as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. So to begin with, I'm going to start with an overlay of a shimmery white acrylic, and I actually think this color that I have is called Hint of Mint or something along those lines. So it's got just an ever so slight green hue to the background. You wouldn't know that that was what it was unless you knew that that's what it was, but it does lend itself to be paired with a Kermit, so it goes well. And then I'm going to be adding a layer of clear acrylic over the top of that background color. Just make sure it's nice and strong. In this particular acrylic, if that, like I said, it's a little bit glittery. If that did get filed, it would not be the end of the world. It would just file and be fine, but the clear does add some strength. So now I'm going to be filing this nail into shape with my E-file, starting out with a pretty coarse bit to remove any bulk and make sure that the nail is nice and smooth and has a good structure to it. And then I'm going to switch to a finer bit and just smooth out the entire surface texture and make sure it'll be really easy to sculpt the 3D little Kermit on, as well as any painting that happens to be over the background. So now I'm going to be sculpting my Kermit with a really nice Kermity green. I'm going to start out with his body. So for his body, he is a puppet, so he's got a very basic body shape. It's very tubular, that kind of shape, because you have to stick an arm up him. That sounds pretty bad, but anyway, you have to stick, you know what I'm saying here. Anyways, so you got that, and then you got his skinny little arms off to the sides. His not terribly detailed here. It's very simple, so just little lines of acrylic on the sides. For those arms especially, make sure that your acrylic isn't too thick. You want to make sure it's a little bit more thinner, more monomer heavy, so that it will pull into that nice skinny little arm shape. If your acrylic is too dry, it'll crack a little bit and it's not going to pull into that nice skinny shape. So just bear that in mind when you're working on it. So like this bead here that I'm working on for his head, as you can see, it was a little bit more powdery, a little bit drier. I even added a bit more monomer to it by just dipping my brush, just the very tip of it, in monomer to add that, and then just tapping it on there, and that will kind of reconstitute it if you were thinking of it in the terms of something that's been dehydrated, I guess. Anyways, then just make his head shape very simple. Don't worry about the 3D part of it. Just kind of get that base layer down, sort of like you're sketching out the outside shape of it. Make sure after you have that done, then you can go through later and you'll add the 3D sticky outy part of his face. With a different shade of green acrylic, hopefully you have more than one, you're going to want to add the little neck, little collar around his neck with the little points, and then just clean that up. If you don't have another layer or another kind of green acrylic that's in that same bright green family, just use the other one that you're using and then touch up the color with acrylic paint later. Perfectly fine. And then, as I said, I'm going to make the little 3D element of his mouth. So his mouth is pretty open. He's got a nice big grin. So you're going to, and it's kind of pointed too. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a point going down on that first layer that I added to the upper portion of his face for the top part of his mouth for his upper jaw. And then I'm just going to add another layer to it, make sure that it is nice and it's thicker than the lower part of his mouth, so you can tell that it's 3D and it looks like it is open towards you. And then with some white acrylic, we're going to be adding his nice little eyes that stick up above his head. So there's the first one. Use very small beads of white acrylic. When you're trying to grab small beads of acrylic like this and you want them to be the same size, really pay attention to how much monomer is in your brush, so you don't have to do what I just did and add a touch more acrylic because one was smaller than the other. You know, if you pay close enough attention, hopefully you won't have to do that, but it does happen, obviously. On occasion, you're like, oh man, that's just not quite enough. Then with red paint, I'm going to be filling in his mouth, and then with a little bit of a brighter color, whether it's pink or even just mixing in a little bit of white to your red paint, add a brighter shade for his tongue. With black, add his little eyes. So add one line that is horizontal and then add a little intersecting line so it's like little T-shapes in there. Then with that black paint as well, you're going to continue on and you're going to be adding some outlines around him. So make sure that you don't have too much paint on your brush or you're going to get lines that are too thick, and just very carefully outline basically everything. So add some outlines around his mouth, on his tongue. The one thing that you do want to make sure that you outline is that little neck color, because that seems to blend in a little bit more, and that's such an iconic part of Kermit that you need to make sure that you have that in there. Then apply gel sealer over the background and matte top coat over your 3D art. And then you're all done. I hope you guys like this design as much as I do. Check back tomorrow for Miss Piggy. Otherwise, if you're watching this later on, there will be a link to her video in the description box below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!